You already read the title, so you know what this is about. And I don't want to waste your time any more than I want to waste mine, so let's get into it. This is from the perspective of a small content creator. And these are just honest tips. My perspective, I'm no professional. But my first tip would be to try to make it short and sweet. Try not to ramble on too much. If having a script helps you out, have a script. I tend not to have a script, but try not to ramble on. Try to kind of cut off the fat if you can, because most people, me included, when we're scrolling through for videos for information, for example, if we see a 4-minute video versus a 14-minute video, we're probably going to go for the shorter one if we can. So try to kind of cut straight to the chase and make it as quick as you possibly can. Consistency is everything. Consistency in your timing. If you don't post a video every once in a while, people will forget about you. If you're only posting once or twice a year, I'm not saying you have to post 5 times a day, but it does help if you're posting anywhere from, uh, at least, I think at least once every week or so, but every couple of days or whatever suits your schedule, or at least, I think at least once or twice a month. But I mean, everybody's different. Consistency also goes for the topics you tend to post about, your cliche, if you may. I personally, I've got a few cliches, probably not preferred, but I do talk about gardening and, sign language to a small degree and a bit of medical science, a bit of foraging, and so I'm a little scattered and musical. My music videos tend to go a little more than anything, although I wouldn't say I've done anything too extreme, but try to kind of pick something more cliche if you can. It would probably help you out a lot. Once you start getting some videos out and some views and subscribers, or even if you've not gotten too many at all, but what I started doing a short while in just recently, last 2 months or so, um, I started doing live streams, an idea I've gotten from actually running across one. And once in a while, new people will come across your live streams. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, you can actually connect more personally with the audience you already got. And I wouldn't say every single live stream I've done has blown up by any means, but almost every one has gotten at least 80 to 110, 120 views. And almost every one has gotten me between 1 and 4 subscribers. So it can make a bit of a difference. So, if that's something you'd be willing to do if you're a live stream type person, you might be able to talk to your audience and or play your instrument and entertain your audience or whatever it is you want to talk about, right? Or your cliche. You would obviously do something along the lines of what your channel is about. So my next tip involves naming your videos because sometimes that can make a difference too. And for this point, I'm actually going to screen record to kind of show you my point. But it involves somewhat psychology, but I'm sure you'll get it as I explain it. So let's get into the screen video, whatever the heck it's called. So here we are screen recording the channel you're currently watching this video on. And these are my shorts. So the reason I'm bringing you here is because, as you can see on the top right here, you're probably wondering what that picture might be. That's a bag of milk. If you're outside of Eastern Canada, or even Brazil, maybe that might have been a far off guess. And the second video down on the left, I'm holding one of the bags of milk out of that. Now, those two videos are essentially the exact same video, except in the first one you see, I actually swore in that one. So in the title, I put explicit. It was milk, Canadian milk big explicit, but the second video I posted, and they're the same video other than that, I didn't put explicit. And the one I put explicit in had 847 views so far, as you can see, whereas the other one only got 345. So in that scenario, the word explicit is what's going to draw your attention to that video specifically, for example. You know what I'm saying? And it could be totally different depending on what cliche you're in or what kind of a video you're going to view. But on the other hand, like, I'm not suggesting you do this with every single video you post. Like, you can just have ordinary titles too. That's actually probably a good thing. But once in a while, it's good to throw in one of these buzzwords like surprising or shocking or, explicit in this scenario. And this is going to automatically grab somebody's attention. So something I quickly wanted to actually take on to the live stream point I made earlier, as well as mashing it with this sticking with a certain idea or cliche or whatever. Um, like if you're ever, say, in the middle of a live stream and if it's something you worry about, and because live streams, you might, if you've ever watched one, you would know that there is live chat with anybody watching, and if it worries you of, what if they ask this, what if I don't know that? There's no shame in just saying like, hey, I don't honestly know that, but I'll get back to you. I'll make a future video about it, or I'll ask somebody I know, or just honestly say you don't know. There's nothing wrong with that, and you can move on, and it happens, right? If you're a smoker like myself, I would suggest trying to avoid smoking as much as possible in your videos or live streams. Now, mind you, I've smoked the odd cigarette during a live stream, if it's been over an hour or two, for example, but I tend to keep it aside only when I'm having a drink, but I try not to because it does offend some people. A lot of people think it's really disgusting, and it is kind of not a really great habit. So if you're a smoker or a toker or any of that, I suggest trying to kind of keeping that out of your content. An interesting little idea you can always go with that some will do, for example, having an intriguing new little thing in each video. For example, Mr. Ballin, I'm sure you've likely heard of him if you're into storytelling, will often have a way to destroy the like button in the beginning of every episode, which I found quite catchy. And at the end of the episode, or at least in a lot of his earlier episodes, he'd be like, "Did you see the secret?" Whatever, I forget exactly what he says, but if you're a Mr. Ballin fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or maybe you can switch something in the background and ask your audience if they've noticed anything different, or maybe switch what you're wearing or see if anybody notices, because it keeps them more intrigued on you, for example. For example, something's changed since I've started this video, if you can tell. Now, this one here is kind of my personal preference, and I know it's probably going to be controversial, and I know a lot of people who would make a video like this will actually tell you quite the opposite. Because when you tell people to like and subscribe, the like button will flash up, and you get that colorful rainbow around the subscribe button. And my personal preference on that topic, and I've said it the odd video, I think one or two that I can remember. I'm not saying don't ever say it. My personal preference, I don't like mentioning it every single video, because if they like your content, they'll probably like and subscribe. I've always figured it was self-explanatory, and then you're not wasting as much time in the video, sidetracking them into, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, one video, a YouTuber I follow, Ray William Johnson, I believe his name is. I'm sure you've heard of him. He's got millions of subscribers. But it's not every single video. It's just like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and. It's just the video, a pretty cool story, and he's got millions of views. And I feel like it's the same with a lot of I can't think of all of the YouTubers I know of, but it can go either way. Some people do it, some people don't. I'm not saying it's good or bad. This is just my preference. So, what do you guys think? What's your opinion on that? And my last few points are more the things I would suggest you not do. Try not to be a malicious asshole. And by this, I kind of mean like, yeah, there's a lot of comedy videos out there, and even TV shows like The Family Guy, who was famous for making jokes that could be considered an asshole joke if you were saying it to somebody personally, right? That's kind of what I'm getting at. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to make a joke, if it were you and a buddy in the video and it was scripted, but it's a different thing to call somebody out or point out somebody specific or a specific race or religion or yada. That's a totally different story. I personally wouldn't make any blows you know you wouldn't want against yourself if you were in that scenario. You know what I'm saying? Just my personal suggestion. Similarly, don't be too much of a weirdo. There is a good weird, there's a funny weird that people are like, haha, I've done that. Then there's the island boys making out with my twin brother weird. And yeah, there's certain weirds that, yes, it's going to get you attention for a couple of months, and then it's going to fade away and you're gone. So if that's what you're looking for, by all means, make out with your sister or your brother. I don't care. Just saying, like, pick your battles. You gotta know what you're posting about. I'd say I've gabbed your ear off enough, so thanks for listening, and hope you have a great day or night. Please don't feel up your siblings. Take care.